y'all, it's TxStampin Sharon bringing you another video. This time it is something new that is coming from the 2018 holiday catalog. So pretty, and my favorite is copper. So you'll want to watch this video so that you can see how I make the card. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, could you do so below? After you subscribe, you can hit that little bell, and then you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. I would love it if you would make a comment, and I would be thrilled if you shared this video with some of your stamping friends. So here's my card. This beautiful card is full of copper, and I love copper. This is part of a new stamp set called Falling for Leaves that is coming out in September. It has all my criteria. It has images and it has sentiments. I love that in a stamp set. And then when you add that it has framelits, it's a win-win. The new holiday catalog is available to start ordering from starting September 5th, 2018, and I believe it goes through January 2nd. Sometimes we need fall cards. We always need some holiday cards, Christmas cards. This catalog is chocked full of some fun things for Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. I can't show you what's inside yet. However, if you would love to get your own copy of this, if you want to head over to TxStampin.com, you could put in your mailing address, click on the contact me, and let me know your full name and your mailing address, and I'll get one to you. I want to show you this beautiful paper that is also in that holiday catalog. It is called Country Lane Designer Series Papers, and as you can see, I've already been playing, so some of the pieces are already cut up. Move those out of the way. This is just one of my favorites. Look at that. And there's also an embossing folder that will do the same thing. All right, so I think that's all the sheets that I've cut up on. So it's almost like Christmas when we get to do pre-order with Stampin' Up. We get to order things early and then get them in and play with them just like Christmas. Isn't that so fun? Very pretty fall colors. And I think there's going to be a lot that we can do with those. All right, so let's make this card together. As you can see, I have several of the copper leaves cut out. I wanted to share a little tip with you about the copper foil. There's like a plastic coating on the back of this, and when you're trying to cut out these delicate little leaves, it can be a little hard. If you will take a paper piercer, a push pen, something, and start just that backing, not the whole thing. You don't want to go from the front because you'll pull off the foil and the paper will be too thin. I've tried that. So you just want to take that and grab it. And when you peel that plastic coating off, I mean, it's like wax paper. When you peel that off, it will make it so much easier to cut out these leaves. So I hope that that tip helps you. I have all the pieces ready to stamp and assemble. So first we're going to do our leaf, and a must whenever you're doing embossing is to have an embossing buddy. There is static in the air, and static will stick to your cardstock, and therefore when you go to pour the powder on, it will stick where you don't want it. This is kind of a big leaf. Let me move this over a little bit. So I prefer to ink up my stamp upside down. And since we are using a photopolymer, I'm going to pull in my paper piercing mat. And since I touched that cardstock, I'm going to do this again. I just don't want that copper embossing powder to go anywhere else but on my stamped image. Just holding it there for a few seconds to let all of the ink absorb into the cardstock. And now I'm ready to pour some embossing powder over it. Giving that a good flick. and now I will heat set. So I've cut the leaf out with the framelit, and now we're ready to assemble our card. Using some snail on the back of my leaf, I'm being very generous because I want to place my leaves and have them stick like that. This one I struggle with because the stem is so long, so not to worry. All you have to do is trim off whatever is sticking out. And then we're gonna do this one. Nice, bold, solid leaf. We're gonna pop it up with some dimensionals. I always like to dig my fingernail into the backing. Helps remove that backing a little bit easier. Let's go ahead and put, see, that side's pretty too. You know, you're like, that's the beauty of the Stampin' Up! Designer Series papers. One side usually has a print and then one side is more neutral. So sometimes it's hard to decide, which one do I want? But for this card, we are using the crushed curry. And there's two patterns of the crushed curry in that pack. Place that right there. I have a little bit of copper trim, and when I first got this, it was like, oh, that's so thin. What do I do with this? It's pretty cool. I always like to leave the ribbon on the bolt whenever I'm just tying a bow or not, and then that way I have less waste. Just kind of tie that in a knot. We're gonna snip that right there. And then I'm just going to take my fingers and pull that apart. Using a mini glue dot, put that right there. And I know it's very subtle, you can't hardly see it, but it is there. The last thing we need to do is stamp our sentiment. This is especially important to use your embossing buddy. Those fine detailed words really can get some of that powder in between, and you just don't want that. So we're gonna ink this up. By the way, I forgot to mention, if you head over to TxStampin.com, you are able to subscribe to my newsletter, and every week I send out free project sheets. I work with a group of demonstrators and we coordinate different ideas, and then I can share those ideas with everybody who's on my newsletter list. Using my triple banner punch, I'm going to punch on this side. You can kind of see where my words are, so then I back it off. Give that a good squeeze, and I was a little crooked, so I'm gonna fix it. So easy to fix. There we go. I have a little bit more on the right-hand side, so I'm gonna cut that off a little bit better. And of course, we wanna use dimensionals, my favorite. That and copper, I'm addicted. I hope this card inspires you to make cards of your own, whether you use this stamp set or use something that you already have on hand. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to spend it with me. I hope that you enjoyed this card, and I hope that you will be inspired to make one of your own.